भैया मैं तो शिकायती पिटा रहा हूँ, मैं तो बचपन से ही शिकायती पिटा रहा हूँ. आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ कंप्लेंट्स एंड आई नो देयर पीपल अराउंड मी हु कीप सेइंग दैट अनम इतनी इतनी कंप्लेन मत किया. मैं क्या करूँ, मेरी नज़र ही ऐसी चीज़ों पे पड़ती है कि मैं कंप्लेन करने लगती हूँ. अब मेरे आसपास के लोग इतने सुघड़ हैं, वो बिना कंप्लेन के अपनी ज़िंदगी उठाओ चूल्हा टाइप से रह लेते हैं. मैं नहीं रह पाती. मुझे कंप्लेन, आई लाइक टू कंप्लेन. मुझे कंप्लेन करना पड़ता है, मुझे आदत है कंप्लेन करने की. हर चीज़ की कंप्लेन करती हूँ मैं. एनीथिंग हैपन्स लेफ्ट राइट एंड सेंटर एंड इफ़ दैट इज़ नॉट अलाइंड एज पर मी, आई विल कंप्लेन. I will complain. I am a complaint box and I don't know, that's my nature. That's how I am. मेरी upbringing ऐसी हुई है. I just complain because मेरे आसपास के लोग ऐसे ही थे हमेशा से. They have always been like, very comfortable. And I have not been very comfortable in my life. I also like comfort, not that I do not. I enjoy comfort just like as much as anybody else do, but I like to keep my comfort with perfection. I do not like to be in a comfort in a messy surrounding. I don't enjoy comfort with mess. People enjoy being comfort at mess level. I cannot enjoy comfort at mess level. At mess level, I will complain. I will have a lot of complaints and I will complain. Like I remember uh, when I used to work in real estate, I got a very small workstation for myself in Elite. Very small, like as small as like probably probably I used to watch Tom and Jerry, and Jerry was connecting to that workstation. It was that petite, and I used to keep my workstation very clean. I was very particular about it, and I was enjoying. For the first time I got a workstation in my life ever. So I was very happy about it that I have my workstation. I'm sitting here and I'm maintaining my own kind of sticky notes and maintaining my medical and everything. I was paying attention to myself. I was paying attention to my health and everything because I got time there. From retail, I was not getting, I was getting time, but I was getting time for outdoor activities like going for gymming or playing squash or playing tennis. But I never got that much of time where I could really sit and think about uh, different aspects of life. And I think that evolved when I started writing I Do and Chew in Elite. When I started writing that book, because my work was managing calendar, and the moment the time duration, I mean, not I've been not writing much of books, but yes, I did use their stationery like paper and stuff like that. So the time when I used to sit in front of my workstation, that moment I used to do a lot of research on to use the vocabulary and use the different locations and browse different kind of foods and everything which I'm going to mention in my book. That was the moment when I started doing the search. With I Do and Chew, I was traveling, places I've never been. When I started searching and I started learning about those places, like the Queen's what is that uh, personal Brooklyn Street or whatever that is called. When I've been browsing about it, I've been reading about it and how I'm forgetting even the name of my characters. It's been so long to this book. It's been years. All I remember is Jack and Julia. Yeah, Julia is the girl. So Julia's sitting there, and because I've not been talking about this book much. So Julia's sitting there and having coffee and wearing her Tiffany and all sorts of things, which I've been mentioning the little details about her. And the way he looks at her, the Jack is staring at her, and all of the story which has those little elements, from the wine that is chosen to everything, almost everything. So that was the time when my journey actually started. In the sense, I personally started traveling with my own book, because I realized that the characters that I was creating had a certain definition. They had a certain class, and they had a certain strength in them. And I think that aristocratic background and everything, that just sort of created the whole element around uh, the book and around my life. Because then I started focusing on myself, and I started focusing on what I eat to the simplicity of life, where I was trying to explore something which is not so exclusive but is different, like trying a brand like Sheen and buying clothes online, and trying different fashion which I have not experimented so far. Uh, you know, apart from wearing branded clothes like Tommy Hilfiger, or so to say Zara, and so to say any other brands. So I just felt that there's a lot of other online portals which were catering a lot of fancy, fashionable clothes which had a great fit, and they were not branded, and they had a good quality, and everything was like amazing about it. That was one moment of my life, which I was exploring, from which people started grasping the idea of like suppose small and vocal for local, and people started gaining attention towards promoting your own products you know अब ऐसा होता है कि that was a phase which I dwelled in. I moved on for some time, and I think that was a sheer travel. I cannot call it anything else but an enormous travel experience, which people really explain how they feel when they read a book, that they feel like they've traveled, like somebody who reads Harry Potter. Someone who has read Harry Potter, they don't enjoy the movie that much because they have the experience of reading it. So just imagine what would be the experience of the person who is writing it, because the writer's experience is like, when we write, we have a vision in our mind. The film is running in the head, in the mind. We can literally see the whole thing, what is happening, and that is the sheer reality. And that's one reason that whenever I used to write, I used to get very emotional. Like even if I'm writing anything emotional, I will get very emotional about it, and I'll have tears in my eyes, and naturally I'll cry. I was a very soft hearted person in the past, and I would naturally cry. But now it doesn't happen like that. Now I don't even get that vision. I am waiting to receive certain kind of visions which I'm not getting. If I'll receive a vision, probably then I'll start writing my book, another book. But like a vision as pure as I do in Chew novel, I haven't received it, because I think that was a very phenomenal experience, and that was an experience which I cannot really explain in words, because every little detail that is expressed in the book is very refined, not much talked about it. And it has not because it has Jimmy Choo or something, but otherwise, keeping aside the brand Jimmy Choo, I think the book has its own story which deserves its worth. You exclude the brand part. The book's story is something which is a mix of my few of my favorite scenes which I extracted from a few of my favorite films which I've watched. But those are just scenes, you know. The story also somewhere down the line dwells in that manner, but I have tried to keep it very realistic by not getting someone like the person dies and then comes back to life. No, there's no such thing. My story is very real. The guy struggles. They also face a lot of clash. They go through the heat. There's fight. There's everything. But ultimately, he's the only guy in the same life who is getting the girl in the same life. There is no second life, or there is no second copy of the guy who's coming and marrying the girl. So I've kept it very realistic, but I've kept it a little approachable in a manner that there's someone who can always strive if you have patience and if you have belief and love, and you fight. Because the reason I could also understand what women feels is, she's somebody who comes from a very exclusive background, very very rich, and she has a high nose, and the only thing that she cannot stop doing is being negative about the guy, and she's always negative, and ultimately she leaves the house to chase him, that now he's performing in uh, that world music and all. And that's where she finds out that, he's busy, he's doing this, he's doing that, and she ultimately meets him the first time after a long time, and they have a moment, and that scene is also very, very beautiful and very iconic. I think I've described that scene beautifully. I think when you'll read it, you'll understand that scene does not have any relevance with any of the films so far. That is one scene which is very naturally kept in the novel, and it is a copyright of mine. It does not have a scene. The scene does not belong to any film. The old one of the scenes which truly belongs to the novel, and that personal encounter is ultimate between Jack and Julia, and those emotions as a woman I could feel in me, in my journey when I've been aggressive about somebody, and I've been extremely jealous, and I've been extremely impatient, and I've gone through those phases in my life. So I would not put something in my book which I have not experienced or I don't experience. That's a very natural experience. Uh, Jealousy is a very natural experience, and I think that really happens because you just don't want to share your partner with somebody. It's like having your best friend you don't want to share with anyone. It's that simple. And to find that, now uh, the dynamics are very different. Everything is very people connect spirituality like this in this manner that anyways, let's not talk about it. But I think when anybody's going to read it, they'll understand that it's not about selling the brand Jimmy Choo. It's a pure story. Jimmy Choo is just one element because it has a name. That's it. It has a name and it is very picky. It is something which I've used as like a power word, which is going to lift the release of the book, because it's not selling a shoe. It's a love story about two people from diverse backgrounds and the encounter and everything, and those little details, those fine details that really create every element very hilarious and funny and admirable about the love story. And the genuineness is the innocence of the book, and that innocence is extracted from my childhood movies that I've watched, and those little elements like the flash of light from RHTDM, when she dances in the rain. I think that scene, when you're going to read it, it has a different feeling. That scene is extracted from there. So when you read I do in Chu and how he sees her in the rain, you will see that there's a different emotion attached to it, and you might imagine the same RHDDM scene, or you might, if you are really in sync with the book, then you will actually picture the girl with that kind of an attire which is mentioned in the book, and that kind of a get up and background and everything, which you will be able to imagine with the kind of a car she's using and every element, whatever brands she's associated with. Uh, Everything is going to reflect her character, her image. So that's all. It's it's something which is just reflecting a character, not a spiritual connect of anything. So these elements are just a fine line of a presentation of a beautiful film. When you're gonna read, you're gonna probably picture it. It happens like that.